Hi, sixth graders. I want to go over the study guide with you to make sure that we all have the right answers. And if you did something wrong, you know what you're doing before you take the test tomorrow. All right, so I give you all the information you need to know. It's at the top. So the practice problems are here. So finding the reciprocal. Remember, reciprocal just means to flip the numerator and denominator, okay? And the improper fractions have to be changed before you flip them, and we'll get to that in a second. So you just flip them. 5 over 6 becomes 6 over 5. Remember, we do this for division. 8 over 3 becomes 3 over 8. You would have to make this 12 over 1 first, and then flip it to 1 over 12, okay? Here's where I want you to be really careful. When you have 1 3/5, you can't do 1 5/3. That's not a number. It is a number, but it's not really a proper number. So you have to change it to improper first and then flip it. So that's really easy to forget to flip it if you have to change it to improper when you're dividing mixed numbers. So you got to be careful with that one. And same thing here. I change it to improper first. Remember, you do the denominator times the numerator, or times the whole number plus the numerator. So 2 times 7 plus 1, 15 over 2. And then I would flip it to 2 over 15. All right. And so here, sorry about that. Here are the answers to the study guide, and I'll go through the bottom ones with you, but these I've already kind of gone through. So remember, if you want to look for the sign, don't multiply when you're dividing, don't divide when you're multiplying. So that's a multiplication problem. I do not flip anything. So I'm going to cross reduce when I can. So 2 went into both of these, and then I do numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and I got 5/12, okay? The next one is a division problem, so that number's got to be flipped after I change it to improper, okay? So I did 7/2. I kept the division right now so I don't forget. Divided by 5/2, so I change them both to improper, and then I'm going to do the keep flip change, okay? 2's I could cross reduce, so I did, so I don't have to multiply bigger numbers. So 7 times 1 is 7, 1 times 5 is 5. You cannot leave it as an improper fraction. That's when the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So you have to change it back to 1 2/5. So 5 goes into 7 1 whole times. You have 2 left over out of 5. All right, on this one, and I'll show you what I did here. So 25 over 1, it's multiplication, so I'm not flipping it. So 25 over 1 times 32 over 5, so change them to mixed, to improper, by mixed to improper. I cross reduced here because I don't want to multiply 25 times 32. 5 times 32 is going to be bad enough. So if I have 25 and 5 goes into both of these, so I divide by 5. All right, so then I have 5 times 32 and 1 times 1. Well, the 1 times 1 is easy. Now, here's how I'm going to do 5 times 32 pretty quickly. So if I do 5, remember when we did distributive property where you split up a number? If I did 5 times 30, I get 150. 5 times 2 is 10. Together that's 160, so it's 160. So I split up the number and kind of did the multiplication I know in my head. I don't know why I have this over so far. All right, so on this one, you should have got the answer 8. I had 32/7 times 7/4. I'm not flipping because it is multiplication, not division. And then I cross reduced where I could my 32 and 4, and I got 8. This one, again, I'm dividing, so keep flip change, keep flip change. And then I cross reduce where I can so that it makes my numbers, I reduce, I don't have to think about it so much. 3 times 3 was 9, 2 times 5 is 10. And again, if I go too fast, you guys can stop it and kind of go back, but I don't want to take an hour video to go over our study guide because we actually did this in class. So if you're at home, we did it together, so you can just kind of go through it a little slower. Or if you're at home studying and you got stuck on something, I'm hoping you're watching this, okay? All right. Improper. This one already is. This one's a proper fraction. I need to change that one to improper, which I did. Then I'm going to do the keep flip change. Keep flip change. So keep the 2/9, flip the 35/6 to 6/35, and then I'm going to multiply. Well, this one's going to be a little tougher to multiply. Even though I cross reduced, which I definitely want to do because I don't want to do 9 times 35 if I don't have to. So I did 2 times 2 is 4, and I did 3 times 35. Well, 3 times 30 is 90. 3 times 5 is 15. 90 plus 15 was 105. Okay? All right, this is probably the hardest one on here, I think, as far as numbers to multiply out. So on this one, you've got, if you change it to improper, you had 12/5 times 49/4, so I am not flipping it. I definitely want to cross reduce with the 4 and the 12. 4 goes into both of these. So then when I multiplied out, I had to do 3 times 49. Again, 3 times 40 is 120. You have to excuse the announcement.
Saria Kumar, can you come to the office? Saria Kumar.
There we go. 3 times 9 is 27. So if I add them up, I get 147. And then I'd have to change it back to mixed. All right. And this one, I change it to improper. 63 64/7 times 1/8. I change that to improper. And then I'm going to multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. Okay. On this one, pretend I didn't do that because I thought that was a 2 and not a 12 when I did my first time. So we're going to redo that one. So if I look at this, 4 goes into both of these. 4 goes into 8 2 times. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Okay. So I get 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 1 is 3. Then I have to reduce that because it's an improper. So 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. So I have 1 left over out of 3. Okay? That's where I left off. All right, change these to improper. I keep pushing the page up because I keep thinking you guys can't see it. You get 63/12 multiplication, 6 8/3. Okay, I definitely want to cross reduce here. I know 3 goes into both of these. 3 goes in here 21 times. 4 goes into both of these. 4 goes into 8 twice, into 12 3 times. And look how much easier I just made that. 21 times 2 is 42/3. 3 goes into 4 1 time. I have 1 left over. 3 goes into 12 14. 4 times, and I end up with 14. All right, for this one, I did 5 times 10 is 50, plus 4 is 54/5. And I can do the keep flip change because that's already a fraction. So change that, 16/15. This one you might not realize that 3 actually goes into both these numbers. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 54, let's see, 124, 18 times. Okay, so it made it a little bit easier. Not a ton easier, I'll be honest. So I would do 18 times 16 over 25. What is 18 times 16? Let's see. 8. That was a tough one. I get 288. All right, think about how many quarters would go in here. If I'm dividing by 100, how many quarters would go into $2.88? 4 go into $1. So $2 would be 8, and I would get 75 cents would fit into that. So 9, 10, 11. So that's going to be 11. So it's not as hard to divide. And then 288 minus 275, because that was my quarters, and I get 13 left over out of 25. That's not as horrible as it looked. And last but not least on this page, I get 63 64/9 times 5/8. 8 goes into both of these. I get 40 over 9. 9 goes into 40 4 times because 4 times 9 is 36, and I have 4 9ths left over. All right, so those are just the regular problems. Just be careful on your multiplication and division, making sure you multiply when you're supposed to multiply and you divide when you divide. All right, these are the story problems that we did. And this is kind of how I want you to set them up, even if you don't write the whole thing out like this, but this is how I want you to set it up. It says, Kimmy split 2 3/4 pounds of pecans into 1/4 pound bags. How many bags did she fill? You need to know how many bags she filled. Okay, so that is always where you want to start, right here. What do you need to know out of this problem? Then I can kind of go back and backtrack. What do I know? I know that she's a bullet. She has this many pecans. She has this. It's very important. That's what she has. She splits that into 1/4 pound bags. Okay, so when I set on my problem, it's going to be what she started with or what she had. She had 2 3/4. She split, which means divided by 1/4. Okay, so that's how I know how to do that problem. I know that I have to start with what she has because I can't start with what she doesn't have. So I would start there, and then I'm going to do my work. I'm going to change it to improper first. 4 times 2 is 8. That's 11/4. Keep. I'm going to flip. Change that to multiplication. Cross reduce because that makes my life easy. Divide by 4. and I get 11 over 1. So she did 11 bags. Okay? So when you kind of take them apart, it makes a whole bunch more sense. All right, so this one says, a nurse gave a patient 3.5 tablets of medication. If each tablet contained 1/20th of a gram of medication, how many grams did the patient receive? Yikes. Okay, so it says a nurse gave a patient, so gave 3.5 tablets. Okay. Each tablet contains 1/20th of a gram. Of a gram. So how many grams did the patient receive? Okay, so look at it this way. There's a couple ways, so I want to know how many grams. All right, so I'm like, wow, is this multiplication or is this division? Because it could be either. Think about this. She gave that person one. I'm going to do that's my plan of work. 1, 2, 3.5 tablets. So if I got stuck on my draw picture, each tablet contained 1/20th of a gram. So this was 1/20th. This was 1/20th. This was 1/20th. This is half of a 20th, okay? So it's going to be a multiplication problem because I'm saying each one of these, and I have 3.5 of them. So it's going to be 3 1/2 times 1/20th. Okay, that's how I know it's not a division problem, because it's saying each one tablet contained that much. So 2 times 3 is 6. I get 7 over 2 times 1 over 20. Nothing I can do to cross reduce here, and I get 7 over 40. So they got 7/40 of a gram. Okay? All right, so just make sure that you talk your problems out. Make sure you know what you need to know in the problem, what you do know in the problem, everything you know in the problem. Okay, this one I got confused on. I thought, wow, am I going to multiply or am I going to divide? So I drew a picture to try to help me do that. The word split was really clear in this one, so that tells me I'm more than likely going to divide. But this one wasn't quite as clear. Okay, so if I drew a picture, then I could say that 1/20th, 2/20th, 3/20th, and half of 3/20th, which would be 1/40th. And then I could put that all together. Okay. All right, have a great day, and you'll do fantastic on the test.